In games that we enjoy, there's a part of us that wants to improve at it and develop our skill. It's not unlike the other parts of life that we also want to improve on. Well, in this video, we're going to be doing the exact opposite, where I give tips on how to never improve in any of the games that you play, whether they be single player or multiplayer. If your ambition is to constantly fail at anything in life or be hard stuck in the rank that you don't belong in, then this video will hopefully assure you that you're on the right path and that you should keep going. So to start off with the first tip, don't watch your footage. People with a more analytical mindset have enough courage to check their demos or footage and assess what they did right and wrong during the game. This is one of the fastest ways to see immediate improvement when you start off, because you have all the time in the world to see everything you did and realize what you did wrong. Just about every coach or pro in esports will swear by this logic. This will also kill the ego really quickly, because no one really wants to see their own shit gameplay and just want to forget the session ever happened. A pro player, on the other hand, will let the ego go for the sake of improvement. Don't do any of this, please. You don't need to watch those demos or the footage that you have. All you need to do is just to keep queuing up games until you finally get the W for the day, even if it takes 10 losses in a row to achieve it. Also, don't use OBS or Shadowplay. Don't install them, don't use them. Just don't record anything whatsoever. Just play your sessions mindlessly and never look back at what you could have done better in the future. Remember, it's never your fault, especially in team-based games, which is why you should blame your teammates for everything. Your teammates will also have an effect on your overall game session. Good players will always try to communicate with their team and take responsibility for mistakes made in the games that they play. This is your opportunity to not do any of this. If you went in with a player who did a good smoke lineup, tell them it wasn't quick enough or wasn't good enough. Make any excuse to downplay their executions and double down on mistakes made by your own team. Use this moment to put them down at any opportunity you have and elevate yourself to a higher position than them. Also, go in with a doomer mindset. Tell the other team GG no team or something similarly toxic. And make sure to type it in all chat so that not only your teammates hear it, but also your opponents. It's not your place to accept responsibility for fuck-ups, remember? That's what teammates are for. Don't communicate, don't treat your teammates with any level of respect, and don't ever accept responsibility. Continuing this sound piece of advice, this method works in any type of game, but it's at its most potent in competitive games, where you can always shift the blame to make yourself feel better. And don't just blame other players, blame the companies behind them. Tell them how they need to do a better job of making their own game better for you. Blame the matchmaking system, blame losers queue, whatever you want. That's always putting you into games with shit teammates, or blame the mechanics, blame the way the game is designed, or anything that you can draw from your own mind. Literally, just keep making excuses that takes you out of the equation every time. Responsibility is an important part of improving in games, but since the goal here is to do the opposite, I implore you not to take any responsibility at all, and just conclude that it's the game's fault. After all, you're good. You know you're good, so why are you actively getting fucked over by the game's bullshit? List reasons X, Y, and Z and just keep playing. And don't just keep playing. Always play when you're in a bad mood. Competitive or challenging single-player games require a calm and balanced mindset where you're focused and positive. This is not the way. You need to be tilted all the time. Scream your lungs out, find something to smash, stomp the desk, break your keyboard. For further encouragement and normalization of this behavior, watch rage videos before playing. This will get you fired up and give you the strength you need to smash something when something goes wrong. Whether you're depressed or angry, you'll already be on your way to the worst possible mindset that you need to have a more negative playthrough of something or a negative play session. You will snap at the most minute mistakes. You will be even more toxic, which is like fuel for the angry gamer. Keep this attitude going and do not stop. From your point of view, your team is trash, the game is trash, your opponent is probably cheating, or the difficulty in a single play is plain unfair. The opponent may also be a smurf, you never know, but it doesn't matter because negative reinforcement is an absolute requirement for success in playing while you're in a bad mood. Another important component to make this tactic effective is to never warm up, practice, or research. In life, you warm up, you practice, you research before doing a strenuous activity. People at the gym do this, competitive players will do some form of warming up, This can also apply to single player games that are challenging and require research as well as practicing before doing more difficult challenges or difficulty modes. To prevent this from happening, just don't warm up. Don't do anything that I just said. Immediately just go into rank and just play. Ignore the fact that you're not properly warmed up for anything when everyone else is. Also, don't practice routines either. No aim training, no pro guides, none of that, because that would encourage progress and self-improvement. Using guides and research is always a no-go here in this topic. You don't want good advice if you want to stay rock bottom. If you insist on watching videos because you're bored, then find those that have a more negative and toxic personality that mirrors your own path. Replace those guides with brain rot. Watch TikToks or shorts for hours on end instead of useful research. You will always be at your worst, and this will continue as you continue playing the game on top of your bad mood. Also, don't watch pro VODs or experienced content creators in a single player game that you like. You're too good to be watching that shit anyways. And if you do watch their videos, just spread hate, and then tell yourself that if you had the same opportunities they had, you would be better than they could ever be. In fact, don't talk to other players at all, just mute, block, and dodge. If you play League of Legends, you more than likely do this anyways, but I want you to continue this behavior towards every single game that you play. The moment you enter a lobby, consider throwing the game, or as a last resort, just dodging the game entirely. This is crucial to think about, especially if you see that the enemy team has high ranked players. Tell yourself that you're going to lose. Tell the enemy team that it's already GG's and that your team are probably bots anyways. This doesn't really matter in single player games unless there's a co-op mode. If you're in a co-op session, just ignore the other player entirely. In fact, when you see the message log, just add something to block it entirely, like a sticky note or something, and also turn down the volume. Problem solved. You have effectively killed toxicity on their side, as well as yours, but more so theirs. Now you can finally play your game in peace while your entire team are flaming you behind your back. To make this all work, you have to either be toxic or antisocial to the fullest. If you want to be even more spiteful, just dodge the lobbies. That way you make people wait even longer to queue up another game. Block people just for messaging you. If they're bottom fragging or hyperfeeding just because they're trash, then block them. And for added effect, report them as well in the hopes that they get banned. The two best games that will exacerbate this behavior as well as condition it further more than any other game is League of Legends and Dota 2. With the negative mindset, it'll turn you into a completely different person in the long run, but not for the better, and that's ultimately the goal for this video. And finally, never, ever be consistent. Getting good at anything requires time and effort. The more competitive players do a better job at this because they are always looking to improve in all aspects of their chosen sport or their chosen game. But we're not improving here, we're just wasting time. In fact, I want you to either not play regularly, once a month max, or play too much to the point where you'll always get diminishing returns. Don't drink water, ignore your diet, and stop going to the gym. You have real grinding to do here. Subscribe to the notion that the more hours you put in, the better you play. While this is technically true, it's actually more about how those hours are spent. But in this case, you'll want to waste as much time as humanly possible, either dreaming about being better in your own head, or just grinding the game endlessly, believing that you're doing just fine. In this mindset, sessions in any game will always be inconsistent. Going in without any goals or with a good mood in place will ensure a miserable session rather than an enjoyable one. And who knows, you might get a rare session that you actually enjoy. Even the angriest gamers will sometimes get a good game on their hands. It's fine to enjoy these moments, but make sure you take all of the credit for when it happens. Don't compliment anyone else, don't compliment your teammates or the game itself for rewarding you. Make it known that the W that you just got was all because of you. Then go back to raging afterwards. For those that made it to the end of the video, well done. You have everything you need to either improve at whatever game you choose or to do the exact opposite. Whatever choice you make is up to you. The bad advice that I've given in this video can also be used to do the opposite in order to become a better player in general. It's like a trick in the brain, and once you realize it, it makes a world of difference. You want to be shit? Then just keep doing what I've told you to do in this video. But if none of this advice works, just quit. You can't lose if you never play after all.